So growing up, I always felt like I had this big hole inside of me, right? I felt that void. I didn't know how to fill it, so I tried to fill it with any which way that I could. Most of the times that was things that would harm me, right? I would fill it with drugs, I would fill it with alcohol, fill it with lust, sex, gambling, you name it. That's what I was going to. I'd heard about God, but I never had a personal relationship with God. Most of the things that I had heard weren't true. I thought that I had to be cleaned up before I could go to God. I thought that that's the way that it worked. In all those times where I was trying to find my place, trying to fit in, that kind of led me to become a chameleon. And I started being whatever it is that I needed to be to get whatever it is that I needed to get out of you. I started manipulating, and I lived a life ran completely by self-will. I was selfish, self-seeking, self-centered, and it almost took my life. Right after high school, I started my first business, and a couple of things happened. One, this was my first mistake at thinking that social acceptability equaled personal recovery, meaning that if I could show you a nice bank account, if I could show you the car, if I could show you the wife, if I could show you the kid, if I could show you all of these nice things, that meant that I didn't have a problem. I didn't believe that I had a problem. I didn't believe that I had a drinking problem. I didn't believe that I had a drugging problem because I had these things to show you. A junkie or a drug addict was somebody on the side of the street asking for change. You know, that wasn't me. I did my very best to hide from the world who I truly was. I wanted the world to look at me and see the Facebook life. I wanted them to see the nice post, right? But inside, the entire time, I was absolutely drowning. Again, social acceptability being mistaken for personal recovery, my ego also blew up to a dangerous level. My ego almost killed me. I firmly believed that rules that applied to others did not apply to me. I believed that consequences that applied to others did not apply to me, and that included God, right? Like I had beat the system. I had 100% beat the system. Eventually my drinking got the better of me, and I decided that I was going to live like I was retired for as long as I possibly could. Two things happened. I got good at golf and became great at drinking, even worse. I had begged them to leave me alone. I said, man, there's a room full of people on Sundays that clearly want your help. There's a bunch of people at these meetings that clearly want your help. I don't want your help right now. But he never, you know, he stayed there with me, but in a weird way, he kind of answered my prayer. And he never left me, but he allowed me to live out my will. And I destroyed myself. I absolutely destroyed myself in a way that I never thought I could. My wife comes up to me, she asked me the same question that she asked me so many times before. The same question that I said no to so many times before. She said, Dylan, are you finally ready to get help? Are you ready to go to treatment? And I looked at her and I said, yes, I'm ready to get some help. I went to treatment, but I prayed a lot. I prayed, and what I found when I was in treatment, man, is I found that I started connecting with people again, and I started connecting with God again. And when I was in treatment, I truly felt like I found my people. And when I left treatment, the first thing that I did, keeping in mind that God had to be at the center of my recovery, the first thing that I did was I went to a meeting and I came right back here to celebrate recovery. The connection that I have today, the connection that I have with my wife, with my kid, with people, with God, is unlike anything I've ever experienced. Today, that connection is insane. I volunteer at Celebrate Recovery. Celebrate Recovery was the first meeting that I ever went to. I walked in there and I was broken, hopeless, helpless, firmly believed that there was no fixing me, that I could never get this thing right, but they stuck it out with me. My church family stuck it out with me. My Celebrate Recovery family stuck it out with me. Pastor John Leonard came up to me at Celebrate Recovery and played a really, really big part in my recovery and in my life. He was there for me in a way that I had never experienced before, and it was something that I admired. You know, I admired that walk, and that is something that I strive for today as well, because I believe God has called me to do His work, and it's a privilege that I'm not deserving of, that I haven't earned, but I am so incredibly grateful for.